Chapter 20 to 21. Arriving at the meetup point at the airport, they meet up with the rest of the crew. Goku. Krillin saw the trio first and noticed Goku mixed in with the girls. Everyone went up to them to greet them. You have grown a little bit, Goku? Doesn't matter. I will win this time, Yamcha said, pointing at himself with an extremely arrogant smirk. Yes, you will, Yamcha. I believe in you. Goku patted on his arm with a sincere expression on his face. So Goku, how has your training going? What is it that Bulma created to improve yourself with your trip around the world? Yeah, Bulma and her dad were working gravity manipulation and they gave me this. Goku pointed at the belt that he was currently wearing. On it was flashing the image of 2X in bright white. Goku needed to turn down the gravity or else the helicopter they came in would have been brought down from the weight. Ha! So what, is it increasing your gravity to put more stress on your body and muscles? Rashi was prodding Goku with a stick to see if it would affect the stick or Goku in some way. Before Goku could answer, Bulma injected, feeling a little too happy to be discussing science with the old coot. That is the basic premise behind it. How it works is that it calibrates the effect of gravity that is already placed on the user and enhances it to whatever degree you want. That is why his clothes and other necessities are not affected, but he is. It is only affecting him throughout his entire body. Bulma finished off her rant on the amazing technology that she made. I see. So what, right now he is at 2x gravity compared to us? Interesting. Everyone nodded at the simple explanation that Poir whipped up. They didn't really pay attention to the details, only results. Bulma didn't notice it, soaking up the fact that she is indeed a genius making Chi-Chi, and Goku look at her in pity. After talking with the crew about what they did over the 3 years that they were separated, they all heard their flight being called. They all ushered in the plane, taking up their assigned seats that were next to each other. Bulma was able to get Goku's pass last second when he showed up to her house. Pays to be friends with some of the most powerful people on Earth. They all talked some more on the short flight while Rashi was busy groping the flight attendant. We made sure to point out that we didn't know him when she asked. Landing at the airport, they quickly hailed 2 taxis that were already on the road to go to the tournament. They finally arrived at the entrance of the tournament grounds. They saw hordes of people crowd around, not letting anyone else go through. There are a lot more people here than last time. I guess the last tourney really got people riled up. Poir hovered above everyone, trying to see an end to the massive cluster of people. Everyone was heading to the spectator stands while the registration stand was pushed back a little. Poir noticed a line sort that was blocked with some rope. They headed towards that line and were about to enter before someone stopped them with their nasally voice. Why, if it isn't my former rival, the Turtle Hermit? Former, because I am way out of your league now. Walking up to them was an old man of the same aura of Master Rashi. When they locked eyes, there was a fierce clash of sparks that erupted. Why, if it isn't my former rival, the Crane Hermit? Former, because he couldn't take rejection from a lady unlike me, where I get all of them. Shun spat to the side at the old jab and snorted at the Rashi's entourage behind him. He scanned the orange outfits with disgust. No matter. Although your school was more prevalent in the last world martial arts, it was only because my school was not present. This time, however, we will stomp on you flat until you disappear with Tien and Kaioshin. Shun pointed to the tall man with an extra eye on his forehead and the pale person that was floating. Are you smoking something more severe than last time? You upped the ante from weed to cocaine? My students won't even see you in the finals, let alone compete. Humph. Not willing to put up with Rashi any longer, Shun headed to the large crowd while Tien and Kaioshin went to the presumable registration line. Who was that Master Rashi? Krillin looked between the 2 old monsters with curiosity. That was my old friend turned rival. We had the same masters, but he was led down a dark path. Not wanting to discuss it further, they all continued their way to the roped-in line. You guys here to register? It was a large man with a muscular complexion. His eyes scanned the group, resting on a few particular faces. Yeah, Goku answered simply. Only contestants. You better register or you will regret it. The non-combatants, including Rashi, grumbled before heading onto the big crowd that was formed. Goku knew that that mass was going to test the patience of Bulma before she did something to get her to the front. The rest went through the line, making it very obvious that they were fighters when everyone glanced at them. They recognized the group and the crowd broke into a discussion. Goku could easily hear what they were saying. Who do you think would win? I think that Goku Kid is going to win this time. What are you saying? He was strong, but he is still as short as he was before. I think that Jackie Chun will win if he comes back. I don't see Jackie. I believe Yamcha will win. His Wolf Fang fist was cool. It wasn't long before that person was shoved out of the crowd and back into the front of the entrance. Everyone at the preliminary stage looked at the trio with a bit of fear as they walked into a whole slew of different fighters. An old man came out of the woodworks and started talking to the contestants. He basically told everyone that participants were increasing, making the tournament come every 3 years. Goku, on the corner of his eyes, saw a familiar luscious hair attached to a familiar old man. Everyone went up and grabbed a paper from the box. Everyone was on separate brackets like the plot planned. Yamcha in block 1, Goku and Krillin in block 2, Jackie in block 3. Of course, the preliminaries served as a reminder as to how brutally strong they were compared to the regular fighters. The ones in the same block as them really started to regret their life decisions and considered backing out right there. Being the douches that they are, Tien and Kaioshin came up and Tien bumped Yamcha on the should, inciting a response. And that he did when Yamcha nearly fell down. Hey, watch it, eyeball. You would think that with an extra eye, a freak like you would see where you are going. Tien stopped while Kaioshin looked worriedly at him when his expression didn't change. Tien turned around and glared at the smirking Yamcha. Better watch your back, weakling. Hope you squeal like an actual wolf when I crush you. After those words, they turned around and left. Needless to say, the prelims were pretty stale, with each fighter easily winning each round. The crew studied their rivals' abilities while they did the same, but no one was really showing too much as the fights were not hard enough. They found the others at the front after weaving through the massive crowd that was surrounding the ring. How did you guys get to the front of all those people? Krillin asked the others. Everyone looked a little embarrassed when he asked that besides Bulma and Launch. At the same time, everyone within earshot glared at Bulma before she returned it at full force. All I did was make everyone in my way smaller with my newly invented shrink wave and went to the front. They got a free show from the bottom up anyways before I unshrank them, so I don't know why they are so touchy. At that remark, everyone in the crowd looked away while the fighting trio looked at the gun on her hand that she produced out of nowhere with great interest. An improved version of your shrink watch? Nice, Goku said with earnest. Thanks. At least someone appreciates my technology, Bulma said with a little more oomph than usual. Sure enough, the contestants were called just a few moments after. All contestant please gather at the main hall. The tournament will start soon. Entering the hall, they saw Jackie, Tien, Kaioshin, a man-wolf, and another guy with bandages wrapped around his hands. Goku was stretching himself while the announcer was getting everything ready. Krillin and Yamcha were talking amongst themselves before the nag petrol came. Looks like garbage has been smelling up the whole room. Don't worry, we will take it out soon enough. Yamcha and Krillin looked at each other in exasperation. They could not believe that this guy is still trying to talk trash. They both looked towards Goku and he was completely ignoring them both in favor of his warm-ups. Hey Goku, they are talking to us. Yamcha thought that he was a little slow at the uptake on this one. Huh? Oh, I thought they were talking to themselves. Real martial artists show their training on the stage, not by losing their dignity with talking outside of it. After that snarky answer, Krillin and Yamcha smirked at the embarrassed Tien. I'll show you. They both stormed off just as the announcer called them over to draw lots. It was the same charming announcer with his blonde hair and extravagant gestures. Let's start with last tournament's champion, Jackie Chun. Number 4, Match 2. Yamcha. Number 1, Match 1. Put. Number 7, Match 4. Tien. Number 5, Match 3. Krillin. Number 8, Match 4. Man-Wolf. Number 2, Match 1. Kaioshin. Number 3, Match 2. Goku. Number 6, Match 3. After Goku got the last card, he glanced at the smirking Tien. Staring at him for a few seconds, he adverted his gaze to Kaioshin, who was next time. He smirked when they made eye contact and put a finger on his eyes and pulled it down, revealing the red below his eyes. After they got stunned for a little, Goku left to spectate the first match. Sorry for making you wait, everyone. The 22nd World Martial Arts Tournament begins now. Everyone in the crowd cheered, nearly deafening the announcer as he sweat dropped at the excitement. From these 8, the winner will receive 500,000 zeni and be officially named the strongest under the heavens. The first match we have is someone by the name of Man-Wolf in the left corner. Not to be confused with wolfmen who turn to wolves during a full moon. Man-Wolf turns into a man during the full moon. Man-Wolf walked on stage with a certain amount of swagger in his step. And on the right corner, we have Yamcha, a contestant from the previous tournament. He is known for his wolf fang fist and judging from his GI. A student at the Turtle Hermit School. We shall see. An actual wolf versus the imitation. Let the match begin. When he heard the word imitation, he scoffed at the ludicrously from such a statement. He made the glorious wolf fang fist and is proud of such a feat, if any. You are going down, kid. I need to meet up with Jackie Chun, so I can smash his skull in. Yamcha smirked at the hot-headed man-wolf before him and decided to teach him a lesson. Humph! I will show you and everyone else what my so-called imitation is. After saying such a bold statement, he launched himself at his opponent. Yamcha went up to the man-wolf and him with a straight jab. Yamcha was surprised that the man-wolf did not dodge or counter the initial attack. Instead, man-wolf hit the wall of the temple hard with a smack. Man Wolf's head was spinning a bit with stars surrounding him. You okay, man? For all that spunk, Yamcha was confused at how weak this Man Wolf was. That didn't last long as he became more vigilant when Man Wolf stood back up. I need to beat you to fight that Jackie Chun. Man Wolf wiped the corner of his mouth where some blood was. He spat Jackie Chun like it was full of venom. Why do you hate him so much? He seems like a nice guy. A little perverted though. A little? You should know what he did to me. Horrific flashback. The day was sunny and the park was green. Children were running around playing and there was a park bench where two people were talking to each other. Hey, babe, why don't you come back to my place for a good time? The male of the two started flirting. His efforts were getting him somewhere because the lady that he was flirting with was somewhat interested. Maybe. She fluttered her eyes a bit, capturing the male's heart. However, his worst nightmare came knocking on his bench. Is something wrong with you, lad? There a piece of animal fur stuck to your skin. An old geezer came up to him and told him. He plucked a hair that was sticking out of his shirt, showing it to the couple. The girl was a little disgusted with a questioning gaze directed at the man. Wait, I can explain. The man was extremely nervous and stuttering. I understand, young one. The man sighed a little in relief. You are a wolf man, right? I heard of them. They can become a wolf during a full moon if they so wished. The man was shocked beyond belief. Did this old man mistake me for those low-class wolf men? Before he could respond, the female beside him jumped up instantly. A wolf man? And no, I promise I am not. The man's heart was beating rapidly. Sweat pouring down his head, wondering where the actual fuck this old geezer came from. Hey, it's okay. Don't be ashamed of your race. The old geezer patted his shoulder. Once he said that the girl officially left, not wanting to be associated with this man. Wait, as the man was crying, the old geezer's gaze was on the girl's backside, drooling. He was about to chase until the man put a hand on his shoulder. The look on his eyes was on the verge of crazy. Who are you? There is no way someone who is old as you would ruin my life for no reason, falsely accusing me of being those accursed wolf men. The man was shouting right on the old guy's beard. The old bastards were of course Master Roshi in his normal clothes, while the man was the man wolf. Jackie Chun. Master Roshi did not know what he did, but he could tell this man was angry. And he really did not want to deal with it and just chase after girls. So he gave him his alias, one that he will hopefully forget. Once Master Roshi said so, he dashed off in the direction of the lady, leaving behind the man wolf in the dust. I will find you, Jackie Chun, until the ends of the earth, and I will be the one who ends you. Master Roshi already forgot about him as his voice faded away, focusing on the booty before him. End of the life-ending flashback. I have been searching for years. That was my soulmate, and he destroyed the only thing I had. There is no one else with the name of Jackie Chun, and that fake beard is not going to fool anyone. Everyone gasped at the implication. The scandal. The horror. Everyone turned to Jackie Chun, who was peeking over the temple wall. All eyes were trained on him, making him feel a little uneasy. Jackie sighed. The truth was the only way out. He just shrugged honestly with a comedic expression on his face. This only made Man Wolf even madder. You! At hashtag and carrot. Hashtag. Asterisk hashtag percent carrot asterisk hashtag. Carrot hashtag. I will destroy you after this. Slur after slur. The children's ears were covered from the profanity by their parents. You would applaud them for their quick reaction until you start to question why they were in a brutal fighting tournament in the first place. Sick and tired of Man Wolf's ranting, Yamcha unleashed his deadly technique on the wolf. Wolf Fang Fist. The barrage of claws came out of nowhere, dazing the poor wolf. Hit after hit, no matter how much Man Wolf wanted the pain to stop, it just kept coming. Until finally, Yamcha hit him with both claws, launching him out of the ring. And the true wolf belongs to Yamcha and his amazing technique. Yamcha only had a look of pity in his eyes as he looked at Man Wolf. He kind of reminded him of himself just 3 years ago. It brought a tear to his eye. For the next match, we have the infamous Jackie Chun coming in from the left corner. Despite the incredible accusation from Man Wolf, Jackie Chun stands up straight like the champion he is. From the right corner, we have the arch-rival of the famous Turtle School. From the Crane School, it is Kaioshin. If the Crane School is anything like the Turtle School, we are in for some spectacular fights. Let the second match begin. You come from such a prestigious school with a twisted master. Tell me, young one, why do you go there? I see. Kaioshin said, nothing, making Jackie Chun sweat drop. Sighing, Jackie assumed his attacking position while Kaioshin still stood there. Jackie started with a kick to the sternum. He just vanished from his original spot, surprising the young man. Only just a little though. The young man was able to block the incoming kick but was pushed back from the sheer power, making him open to new attacks. Seeing his opening, Jackie appeared above Kaioshin, bringing down a fist that seemed to bring death upon his opponent. Just before the attack could hit, Kairatsu accelerated backward from his position, making Jackie sink his fist on the ring. Everyone gasped as Kairatsu flew above everyone. A unique technique of the crane school. Just because you can freely fly in the air does not mean you are invincible. Jackie Chun started charging his Kamehameha while Kairatsu still had a stoic expression on his face, confident he will dodge it. Kamehameha. Jackie started running towards Kairatsu's position and jump up with extreme force with the Kamehameha wave. He launched a kick, making Kairatsu dodge in a hurry. After he made him stumble in mid-air, Jackie launched his Kamehameha, making him fly even further up. Seeing that he could not dodge or counter, Kairatsu put his hands in front of him in a desperate attempt to stop Jackie. Using his powers, he made Jackie get a stomach ache to force him to slightly move the Kamehameha up, barely grazing the pale martial artist. Touching the top of his head, he patted his head, looking for something important. You made me bald. Missing his lone hair, Kairatsu started to charge a blob of energy fueled by anger, if you couldn't already see the red shading on his skin. Doden Ray. The beam came out of his fingertip and flew straight towards Jackie. With no aerial mobility, Jackie could only block the incoming attack. The blast exploded, making a spectacular light show. Satisfied with the death that he inflicted upon the man that killed his most precious body part, Kairatsu slowly floated down. "Call the match. He is dead," Kairatsu said in an emotionless tone. "Are you sure?" The announcer was sweating with fear as he looked up in the sky, wishing for a miracle to happen. And that it did. "You forgot someone, young one." Jackie Chun emerged from the black smoke and came out like a missile. Kairatsu was flustered, freezing up a bit. He could faintly hear someone from the audience singing a song that made him want to cry. Free falling. Those were the last words that he heard when he blacked out from the meteor punch that knocked him out. Looking back at the young man before him, he couldn't help but lament the fate of them and their teacher. Looking back at the audience, he saw the crane hermit's veins pop out with frustration as he looked at Rashi with eyes that practically spelled death. "You old worthless pile of bones. You entered this tournament and destroyed one of my students. Explain yourself." The crane hermit sent the message telepathically into the turtle hermit's brain. Snorting, Rashi gave a curt reply that with contempt seeping into his reply. "I don't need to explain yourself, you crazy dog. Maybe next time you should train your students more." Walking away, he went back to the temple to await his next fights. "Just wait and see. If you had that much trouble with Kairatsu, let me see you get beaten by my number 1 disciple Tien." With that last note, he ended the telepathic link abruptly. Although Rashi never once slowed his steps, he couldn't help but worry. "Goku, let's see how far your training has got you." After that incredible fight with former world champion and the fresh leaf that is Kairatsu of the Crane School, we have another monstrous fight, as in the left corner, we have Tien, who is also from the Crane School. Elder disciple to Kairatsu, his third eye allows him to see what normal people cannot. In the right corner, we have Goku, second, only to the champion last tourney. He came back with an agenda to win the trophy from the old geezer. The two people on opposition glared at each other with a hint of disdain. A permanent smirk on Tien's face as he faces Goku, despite his companion losing to Jackie just a few short moments ago. "You know, you should surrender now. If you don't, you will regret it." Tien started his tasteless trash talk once more. Like, seriously, if you were trying to bring down your opponent with words, think of something new to say. "I know I will regret it. Killing people is something I am not really fond of." Tien growled at Goku's response. Ready to dish out but can't receive? Sounds like a top to me, and not the good kind. Focusing up, this will be the hardest fight in the tourney for Goku. This fight will finally reveal the fruits of my labor. Everything I have been working for, this will be more first checkpoint. You Tien are nothing more than a checkpoint in something greater. Let the third match begin. Now is the time. Both fighters had their pressure collide in the middle before their bodies moved. The shock wave sent the announcer back as everyone else felt a gust of wind. Filled with anticipation, the crowd cheered crazily when the two fighters leaped towards each other to begin their assault.